In this video, we're going to review how to solve multi-step equations. I have two examples to go over. So for example number one, we have this equation, 41 plus 2s plus 35 plus 2s equals 360. Okay. On the right side of the equation, we just have this equals 360, but on the left, we've got four different terms here. We've got 41, 2s, 35, and another 2s. So what we want to do is we want to highlight the two numbers that don't have a variable with them. So I've highlighted 41 and 35 in red. Okay, and what we're going to do next is we're going to rearrange the left side of the equation, and we're going to put the 41 and the 35 next to each other because they are alike in the fact that they don't have that variable s attached to them. Okay, so you can see all I've done right here is I've rewritten it, I've rearranged the terms, and I can do this because these terms are being added together. So I can rearrange them. I can write them in any order that I want. So I've moved the two s's, the two s's to the front. So I've got 2s plus 2s. And then I moved the numbers next, plus 41 plus 35 equals 360. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to start to simplify the left side of the equation. So on the left, we had plus 41 plus 35. I want to perform the inverse of plus 41 plus 35. The inverse of addition is subtraction. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 41 and 35 from both sides of the equation. When I subtract 41 and 35 from the left side of the equation, basically that's going to get rid of my plus 41 and plus 35. We're performing the inverse operation and it's going to make this basically become 0. Okay, so on the left now, all I have is 2s plus 2s. But on the right, I've got a more complicated expression that we need to work out. So I have 360 minus 41 minus 35. Okay, so on the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to simplify a bit. I've got 2s plus 2s. And whenever you're adding variables together like this, if you're having trouble figuring out what 2s plus 2s is, replace the s with some kind of an object. I don't know, the letter S, you could think of a snake maybe. So if I have two snakes and I add two more snakes, I've got four snakes, right? 2s plus 2s is 4s. And on the right, this is your calculator work. You've got 360 minus 41 minus 35, which gives us 284. Okay, so we have 4s equals 284. Again, we're going to simplify even further. Our goal is to get s all by itself. We want to know what s is equal to. So here we have 4s, which is really 4 times s. S is being multiplied by 4. The inverse of multiplication is division. Okay, so to undo this operation, to perform the inverse, rather than multiplying by 4, we're going to divide by 4. And on the left, that's just going to leave us with s. 4s divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So that would give us 1s. And whenever you have one of a variable in algebra, we just write that variable. Okay, so 4s divided by 4 equals 1s, but we're just going to write s. And on the right, we have, again, calculator work here, 284 divided by 4. Okay, so last step, you're going to figure out what that is. And now we know that s is equal to 71. Okay, this was our first example. Right, in example number 2, we have a longer equation and a slightly more complicated equation because this time we've got, if you notice here on the left, we've got both addition and subtraction, which I think makes solving this just a little bit more complicated. Let's start by reading the equation. It says w plus 32 plus 79 plus 37 plus 2w minus 47 plus w minus 36 plus 31 equals 360. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, just like with the previous problem, is we're going to highlight all of our terms that are just numbers. They don't have a variable attached to them. So I've highlighted them in red here. So I'm highlighting the 32, but notice that I'm also highlighting the addition symbol that is just to the left of the 32. That goes with the 32. That tells me this is positive 32. It's 32 being added to this expression. Plus 79, plus 37. And this is where it becomes really important when you've got a minus sign. Minus 47, that minus goes with the 47. They're attached together, okay? They need to stay together. Minus 36, that minus goes with the 36. Plus 31, that plus goes with the 31. Okay, now I'm going to rearrange just like we did before. Okay, and I'm going to move all of my W terms to the front here. So I gathered them up. I've got a W plus 2W plus W. Okay, and then I'm going to write all of my numbers. And remember, I'm keeping whatever symbol is to the left of that number, I'm keeping it with it. Okay, so plus 32. Plus 79, plus 37, minus 47, minus 36, plus 31 equals 360. And when you're working these out on your own on scratch paper, you could use a highlighter to highlight the numbers and do this where you highlight that symbol to the left, highlight that operator to the left of the number, keeping it together. You could circle. You can circle your numbers. Okay, so you could circle the minus sign with the 36. You could circle the plus with the 31. But you want to do something on your scratch paper that's similar to what I've done here where I've highlighted them in red. Okay, so next thing that we're going to do, next line, we're going to start performing our inverse operations. Okay, so we've got to be really careful because we've got pluses and minuses, and we want to make sure we're doing the opposite of whatever we have. Okay, so I'm just copying down my W plus 2W plus W. We're not doing anything with them yet. All right, and I'm going to type or copy down my equals 360. And now we're going to do this. Minus 32. Okay, I've got a plus 32, so I wrote minus 32. Minus or subtraction is the opposite of addition. It's the inverse. It's going to let us undo these operations so that we're just left with variables on the left side of the equation. Okay, so minus 32, minus 79, minus 37, plus 47, plus 36, minus 31. Okay, so I've written out all of my inverse operations on the right side here. Okay, and then on the next line, we did a lot of simplifying. Let's take a look at what we did. We've got W plus 2W plus W. Okay, and remember what we said earlier, whenever you have a variable with no number in front of it, that's the same as 1. Okay, 1W plus 2W plus 1W. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 4. We've got 4 W's. Okay? Equals, and then this is your calculator work on the right-hand side. Into your calculator, you're going to type 360 minus 32 minus 30, minus 79 minus 37 plus 47 plus 36 minus 31, and we get 264. All right, we're almost through. Next thing we want to do is we want to perform our inverse operation right here. Okay, and I'm actually going to get rid of that 4 right there. Okay, so we're going to divide both sides by 4. We're going to divide both sides by 4. We've got 4 being multiplied times W. The inverse of multiplication is division. When we divide by 4 on the left, 4W divided by 4 equals W. It equals 1W, which we're going to just write as W. On the right, we've got 264 divided by 4. That's your calculator work, okay? And then on the next line, we'll fix this again. On the next line, we can see that W is equal to 66. Okay, 284 divided by 4 is 66. And that concludes problem number 2.